Hey guys, this is Trevor with High Desert Tactical again, and I just wanted to share another article on KTVZ.com. This is a local news site, news station for my area, and I don't talk about them much because I don't always agree with how they perceive things, and they do tend to sway on the anti-gun section. So I tend to not really watch anything they say. But again, Sarah, who loves to get me all riled up, points out these great articles that they write, which are usually very vague and misinformed, and they usually gank them from somewhere else. And this is a study, gun violence drops in past 20 years. And it says explanations for drops aren't clear. Well, like, okay, it's unclear how you trying to figure out if crime drops. Like, if it's dropped, it's obviously dropped. Like, do you think they're like lying? Like somehow they're magically hiding all these deaths that are mass shootings are happening. But KTVZ got this from CNN, who also is kind of a little towards the anti-gun side. At least that's how I see it. And if I'm wrong, you can correct me. And I definitely encourage any feedback on this, and I would like to get a little bit of discussions going as long as we show respect to one another. But it says gun-related homicides and crime are strikingly down from 20 years ago, despite the American public's belief that firearm crime is on the uprising, a new study said Wednesday. So they're quoting the study. They don't think this. Looking back 50 years, a Pew Research Center study found that U.S. gun homicides rose in the 1960s, gained in the 1970s, and peaked in the 1980s. And in the early 1990s, and then plunged and leveled out the past 20 years. Despite national attention to the issue of the firearm violence, for most Americans are unaware that gun crime is lower today than it was 2 decades ago. The researchers say, again, they're not claiming that they believe this, at least this is how I read it. A Pew survey of Americans in March found that 56% believe that gun-related crime is higher than 20 years ago, and only 12% said it's lower. The survey said that 26% believed that it stayed the same, and 6% didn't know. It's really funny to see these two numbers, that 56% thinks the gun-related crime is higher, and only 12% said it's lower. I wonder if these guys literally, they just watch mass media and don't actually do their own research. They just believe what they see on TV. Like, you see one horrendous crime and then you just assume that it's happening every day. At least this is how I look at it. And then at a 7.0 deaths per 100,000 people. Oh, sorry. The new study found that the U.S. firearm homicides peaked in 1993 at a 7.0 deaths per 100,000 people. But by 2010, the rate was 49% lower. It's almost half. And the firearm-related violence, assault, robberies, sex crimes, was 75% lower in 2011 than in 1993, the study found. Those drops parallel an overall decline in violent non-fatal crime, with or without a gun, the study said. In fact, gun-related homicide rates in the late 2000s were equal to those not seen since the early 1960s, the study found. Explanations for the drops the past 20 years, aren't clear, the study said. Well, I mean, so if the numbers show that the, decline in crime, especially involving firearms, has dropped, I'm sure that the survey, which this was a survey or study actually, they probably did their research in their, I bet you in the actual report, they show where they got their evidence because, if they really are valid, they would have, their evidence to back up their conclusions. So researchers have studied the decline in the firearm crime and violent crime for many years, and though there are theories to explain the decline, there are no consensus among those who study the issue as to why it happened. So, somehow they really want to bottle the whole idea of how crime is declining. Somehow that's a bad thing. Like, you have to figure it out. And the researchers say, well, that's, why it's happening. Researchers say in the summary, despite the decline, the United States still has a higher rate of homicide than other developed countries, which is actually untrue. There's many countries that have a way higher homicide rate per capita than we do by far. It's just the way they write the paperwork down and do the measurements, because most homicides and fatal crimes with any form or weapon are in highly populated areas of the United States, and there's a whole lot more of unpopulated areas than the highly populated areas. And AmidsTheNoise does a really good video on that, and I might actually link his video in my description box down below. The study, let's see, America doesn't have a higher rate for all other crimes. Well, what the hell does that mean? The United States also has a higher rate of gun ownership than any other developed country, the study said. Now, this is actually very true. I do believe that the United States has a higher gun ownership than other countries. And there's a reason why that I feel that they won't admit it, but more and more people are beginning to arm themselves for self-defense. I do believe that the mass media has kind of gone against all that, and they make it look like that everybody's against, self-preservation and concealed carry and just using a firearm to protect yourself. But realistically, even taking into aspect the assault weapons ban, that the American people spoke and said that we do want firearms to protect ourselves, despite what Obama or any of our government's agenda was, and even the mass media's agenda was, is the American people still spoke loud enough and held to their, stuck to their beliefs that the representatives of all our states, did what, I perceive and possibly you perceive was the right thing. But I just kind of wanted to share this article with you guys. And again, like I said, I'll post it down below in the description box for you to read it yourself. And also I'll include AmidsTheNoise's video on gun crime and like perception on it. I would really appreciate any feedback on this video and let me know what you guys think. I'm sorry it ran a little bit longer than normal because I am super long-winded, but I had a bit to say about this one. Well, this is Trevor with High Desert Tactical. I hope you guys have a great evening. Take care. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, and like. And also, as always, let me know what you think.